Hello and welcome to episode 97 of the Grow Your Career Online Offline podcast. This is Mei Ping, and in this episode, I want to share with you some of the top life lessons that I learned this year. And I want to share these lessons very candidly with you. And I hope that these are some of the things that you can resonate with your in your life. And I also hope that our relationship stays the same at the end of this episode, because some of the things that I may be sharing may not necessarily be the most comfortable thing, but this has been my experience for this entire year. And if there is one word I can use to describe this year, it is has been a long year. It has been a very exhausting year. There's just so much going on, and I feel like this year passed by very quickly, but very slowly at the same time. Like, I don't know how to express this feeling, but that is just the sense that I get, because I feel like a lot of things are changing, a lot of things are happening, but maybe it's because I have been working with so many clients, about 200 clients this year, slightly more than 200 clients this year, doing a bunch of trainings, managing my own life, and like building a course, um, spending time with family, engaging with people on LinkedIn, so many things that's going on that I almost feel like every single day is passing me by very slowly. So there's this really weird sense of feeling like things are moving quickly, but also very slowly at the same time. So if you feel this way, definitely let me know. All right, so let's start with the first life lesson that I learned this year, and that is really the importance of setting boundaries. I realized that if I don't set any boundaries, people tend to push and try to really get whatever that they want for themselves. I know this is not sounding very, very polite right now, but that has really been my experience. So I am a bit of a people pleaser. I don't feel very comfortable to say no, or to say that I don't want to help, or to ignore somebody. But I realized this year, particularly this year, that if I keep giving in, then I'm basically trading these people's behavior of being very pushy, pushing the boundaries, insisting of stuff that they want without really respecting me, or respecting that the boundaries that I have, as a coach, as a person in general. So, some examples that I can share with you. I receive a lot of messages from people every single day, asking for help and multiple things. And I try my best to reply, but I notice that people who, it's like the more that you give, the more pushy some people become, which I think is really strange, because you are the person looking for a solution, but you are behaving as if somebody owes you, which is very strange to me. And I also felt that I was being pushed around a little bit. So aside from those sort of messages, I also consistently got messages from people who saying that I needed to give them a discount, or I should be more understanding of them, or I should be volunteering my time to do free stuff because it benefits them or whatever. Like, I just feel this is such a strange thing to me, because I feel like, um, if you're asking, then shouldn't you kind of try to understand, what is the person, that person, which is me, what is my situation before insisting. But I realized that, oh, maybe the problem is me, because I am not setting boundaries. I'm not clearly saying no. I'm not clearly saying that, hey, this is not acceptable. So that was kind of most of this year. But I think in the last couple of months, I've actually taken a much stronger stand, which clearly some people don't like, especially the people who have been pushing me around, spamming me every other day, expecting me to reply to them within, like, 10 minutes or whatever. And then they get really upset when I don't respond on time. And then they send me a bunch of crazy spam messages saying that I should be entertaining them and I should be replying and all those things. I used to say sorry, but as I reflected, I'm like, why am I sorry? These are they should say sorry to me. I'm the one, like, giving advice and like giving guidance for and really supporting them, even though I have a lot of free content, even though I have a bunch of videos, even though I have YouTube, even though I have blogs. But these people, they still think that they deserve personalized attention, but they are not willing to invest in themselves. So over time, I kind of came to the realization that, hey, it's really unfair to my clients who are willing to invest in me versus all these people who think that I'm their encyclopedia and they deserve to get stuff from me for free, and then they get really upset when I don't give them the answers that they're looking for and sending me crazy messages such as my advice is not helpful, my advice is too vague, it's not specific to your situation. Yeah, of course, because you're not paying for personalized guidance, right? If you want to look through all the free content, you can definitely feel free to do that. So anyway, that was really the biggest life lesson because I realized that, oh, I'm the one enabling this behavior and this is not okay. Now, moving on to life lesson number two, and it's very closely related to the first lesson, which is the fact that some people are extremely entitled. I don't understand, or I don't know why, but I feel like this year I seem to meet more of these people. It could be because of the pandemic, people are getting more frustrated or more desperate. I don't know. Or it could be that maybe people are stressed, is cultivating this sort of negative behavior. I don't know, maybe, but it's really unacceptable. So I consistently receive message from people who insist that I give them detailed advice, and then when they don't get what they're looking for, they send me crazy long messages or crazy long emails telling me that I'm not helpful, I'm a shitty career coach, I gave them vague advice, or the things that I said is not helpful because of this and that, sending me crazy messages. And I'm like, how entitled can you be? You are reaching out to an expert, you are reaching out to a professional who really knows the insides out and behind the scenes, and you cannot at least be polite. You're not even respectful, and then you expect this other person to help you. I'm like, no. I mean, probably I used to entertain, but like I said, over the past few months, I really decided that this is freaking crazy behavior, and I should not be the person who is enabling this behavior by entertaining these people. Now it's a situation of like, I don't want to deal with you because um I cannot help you, right? Bad attitude is one of those things that I I can't be the person to help you. Like I don't save people from their negative behavior. You need to go to I don't know, a psychologist or something. But I think to me that was like a really big realization this year that, oh, some people are really rude and some people really feel very entitled and they don't even feel that they they should put in the effort, or they should be respectful when they are asking for help. They almost feel like, you know, I owe them the help. And there are some people when I say, hey, I can't respond to this. And normally how I work with my clients is either one-on-one or there are these other options. And then they get really upset. And then they're like, hey, you're supposed to help me. Why are you not helping me? And then they send me a bunch of crazy messages. Again, kind of goes back to the pushing my boundaries and um yeah, really feeling very entitled, which is something that anyway. All right, so moving on to life lesson number three, and that life lesson number three is that copycats are freaking everywhere. That is something that I definitely realized last year, but it has been so prevalent this year. It's almost unbelievable. So I I'm still on LinkedIn, and obviously LinkedIn is where I share a lot of my content, and some of the posts do go viral from time to time. But I've been seeing a lot more passive aggressive behavior as well as outright copycats, and I've seen many times my content got um, basically plagiarized by people who come and snoop on my profile from time to time. They snoop around, but they don't reply when I send them a message, or they just kind of snoop around from time to time. And then I see a piece of content that looks very similar to mine. Obviously, sometimes it's not just copy and paste, but it's just something very similar. Um, yeah, it's really annoying. And the realization that I got from this was that, whoa, people really don't have creativity skills right now. And I guess that is actually a bigger problem. Like if you want to get attention, but you don't know how, and you end up plagiarizing, copying somebody else or like plagiarizing somebody else. Okay, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about you. And for people who say that, oh, imitation is the best form of flattery, I'm sorry, I disagree. Imagine if you are the one who worked really hard on your project, or you worked really hard on a piece, for a test. But there is this one person who didn't even do anything, and they strolled in, hopped in, and just copied your entire piece of work, right? Your entire project. They just copy, paste, and then submit it as their own. Would you not feel pissed off? Like I would feel pissed off. Like if you don't feel pissed off, then like good for you, right? Nothing more to I have nothing more to say. But um it's unacceptable. And people who say that imitation is the best form of flattery, they fall into two categories. Number one, they either have not copycats, had to deal with copycats before, so they don't really understand what it feels like, right? And yeah, maybe if that it hasn't happened to you, it has never happened to you before, then it's very difficult to resonate. It's fine. But maybe category number two, I'm just saying, maybe you are the one who's copying somebody else, and therefore you feel the right to justify. Now, I'm not saying anybody is doing whatever, but I'm just saying that there is a possibility, because some people can take inspiration too far. Unfortunately, they can take inspiration too far. So anyway, just saying. Okay, now the fourth life lesson I learned this year is there are people who can display passive aggressive behavior, and they want to do something to you, but they don't accept the similar treatment, meaning they don't expect the boomerang effect. They don't expect the boomerang attitude, which to me I think is completely ridiculous. If you want to behave a certain way, you better be ready for somebody to behave the same way to you. So if you're extremely rude to somebody else, then don't be surprised when the person starts being rude to you as well. Like, it's karma. Like, things move both ways. Like, it goes two directions, right? And I've had a lot of instances this year of people sending me message trying to get me to teach them stuff, and teach them detailed stuff, which obviously going to take up a lot of my time, and asking in a very rude way. And some of them are in use a more passive aggressive behavior, or use the what I call buttery approach. So they come to me, butter me up. Oh, maybe I really love your videos. Oh, maybe your stuff got featured on LinkedIn. That's so cool. But can you teach me this? Can you walk me through the entire process of how you created this piece of content? I'm like, who are you? And I've also had instances of people say that, hey, I see you're doing really well, like as a career coach and business. I'm just wondering if you have a mentor. Who's that mentor? Where did you learn all these things? I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And some of these people, they completely not engage or network with me at all. And that's something that I really hate. I feel like if you connect with a person, you should make an effort to send a message or trying to connect from time to time. But these people completely MIA, but they only come to me when they want stuff. And then when I tell them that, okay, I can't really give you this, or sorry, I can't share, then they get really upset. Then they get very passive aggressive. And then now the real words come in. Now they're like, whoa, you you're supposed to help everybody and blah blah blah. And I specifically remember there was this one person who is the founder of an NGO, who's been trying to entice me to join his like leadership NGO. Now I'm not going to tell you like what is the name of the NGO, but what I can say is that I have clients who are working me right now who have attended the NGO's mentoring programs, like quote unquote mentoring programs, but not really getting the results that my client's looking for. And hence she is working with me right now. But anyway, what I mean by passive aggressive behavior is, sending me messages or like replying to like my post saying that, oh yeah, good for you that you're a career coach right now. It would be even better if you could volunteer your time at this mentoring, or at my NGO and my mentoring platform, because this is the best way that you can use your time. Or you shouldn't waste your like knowledge by like not giving free stuff to my mentor, to my NGO. I'm like, I give a ton of free stuff. Like, I do a lot of like videos, I do a lot of podcasts, I do a lot of blogs that help thousands and thousands of people. Like almost every day I receive messages from people saying that they really managed to gain a lot from my free content, not even the paid trainings, like not even the paid coaching. It's just the free content, right? So I feel like there's some people just, yeah, anyway, they want something for themselves, and then they try to guilt trip me into doing something. Again, kind of goes back to lesson number one, no boundaries. So I used to kind of entertain those things, but now I'm like, yeah, I don't want to deal with you because it's just really not worth my mental health. And if you recall, the past four that I mentioned is like kind of similar problems as well. But anyway, okay, on to the fifth life lesson, which I think is going to be the last one. And if you're watching this episode on video right now, you notice that I look really tired. I have like eye bags and all. Um, that is because I am actually really tired. Because the fifth lesson I learned this year is if you really want to make something happen, you have the ability and you have the magic superpower to be able to do that. So, what I have been up to in the past couple of months really was to take a step back from the first 9 months of this year. So, this year, like up to the 9 month mark, I probably worked with about almost 200 clients because I had a lot of one on one clients and coaching sessions going on. And further to that, I'm also working with the University of Hong Kong. So that means that I'm working with students every single week in the master's program. And then I also launched a bunch of trainings this year. So from January to April, I launched 2 hour trainings, for LinkedIn and for soft skills and for job search. Then in June to September, I launched 2 week trainings. Now these are like 4 to 5 hour trainings, going a little bit deeper on like work performance, like soft skills, right, strategies and all those things. So basically I've been like running a bunch of trainings that, is getting deeper and more complicated, I guess, like, more extensive as the month go by. And when it came to like October, I decided to pause a lot. Basically, I paused all my trainings and I really reflected on how I wanted to work with my clients next year. Because one of the things was that I realized that, okay, I worked with 200 clients already as of September. And if I were to work with 500 clients next year, I'm not sure how that's going to work out because it can be very tiring. Like one-on-one sessions can be really exhausting. So for those people who say that, oh, one-on-one sessions, the coach is just talking a bunch of stuff. I'm like, try talking if you have like zero knowledge. Okay, now that's a big challenge, right? So because a lot of times in one-on-one sessions, I have to do a lot of thinking because there's a lot of strategizing, and I also want to make sure that like the advice and the direction really works for that specific client. So it's kind of um, really needing to understand my client as a person first, right? Personality first, and then we work on like the other stuff. So it's kind of exhausting, and I also have this bigger mission of wanting to work with more people. So kind of reflected on it a little bit, and I sort of decided that okay, maybe I'm gonna combine a lot of the trainings that I've been doing, right? Since January, and even like I think since September 2020, I've been running like a bunch, like no, June 2020, I've been running a lot of trainings, but kind of slightly different topic. And initially started with like 75 minutes, and then it's like 2 hours, and then now after it's like 2 weeks, and probably something a little bit longer. So that was when I decided that, okay, maybe I should package all the trainings that I have been doing, right, since September 2020, and really enhance a lot of the content, and also pump in a lot of the corporate knowledge that I've really gained in terms of like the strategies and methods that I use, but teach it in a more detailed manner because there's only that so much that you can teach in a 2 week training, right? So I decided that okay, I'm gonna work out an online course. So that was an idea that sort of came about, and I decided to do it in November. But at the time, I would say in early November, it was just a rough idea, and I thought that okay, maybe this is something that um I will do I will launch in June 2022, and we'll see how it goes. But somehow, over the Thanksgiving weekend, I kind of had like some bursts of inspiration, and I just decided to build the course. So I kind of looked at a lot of the training material that I already had, and then really started outlining the course. And yeah, I really started working for that. I also designed like some a 6 step career planning PDF. And I also worked on free training on some of the biggest mistakes that corporate professionals make, and then sharing a little bit more about my 3 step framework to grow in the corporate world. So there were a bunch of things that I did. But interestingly, I think initially I kind of gave myself a probably a 9 month mark, like to launch the course the corporate survivor course in June 2022. But I don't know. I think I probably went crazy, or I was so inspired, I was so motivated that eventually I just sorted out most of the course and I really started working after Thanksgiving, which is late November. I really decided that okay, I think I think I can launch on 1st of January and just kind of like try to make 2022 awesome. So that was that was basically what I did. And therefore I'm really tired. I'm really, really tired because I don't know, I always feel like if we were to start on the first, it's always something very positive because everybody's on a high. So I've been really working on the course and it's on track on the 1st of January, which is really going to be in the next couple of days. So I'm really excited about that. Obviously there's still some other stuff that needs to be done, like aside from the full course. There are also some booster modules that I want to put in, just some of the like the resume interview, job search stuff that I'm still going to pump in as well. So still quite a few things that needs to be done, but yeah, looking forward to really release the course to all of the students who have already signed up. Um, Probably I will do another free live training in early January just to share a little bit more about what's been going on. But hopefully, I can get a little bit of rest towards the end of the year and really enjoy the year. Like it's been a very long year. I feel like the year passed very quickly, but it also passed very slowly as well. I don't know how to explain it, but it it probably passed very quickly day by day because there's just so much going on. Like I mean, aside from my one-on-one clients, I also had a bunch of trainings, and then I also had a lot of events, like mostly paid events. I had a few brand deals here and there, just so much going on. So I've been extremely busy, but the year also felt very slow at the same time. Maybe it's because on a day by day basis, I am working very long hours, clearly going to try to squeeze all the one on one sessions with the trainings and then with the events. And then there's the content creation across multiple platforms. And then there is this other thing, because obviously I also have other businesses, which is crazy. Um, yeah, I'm so tired, but I think the real lesson that I learned this year is if you really want it, if you really desire it, you can make it happen. You may need that burst of inspiration, but inspiration is just one thing. At the end of the day, it's really the commitment of wanting to get there. That is the thing that brings consistent action every single day. I'd say that, the burst of motivation, inspiration, and empowerment, that's just the first part, right? That is like the first 2%. That is the first 2%. After that, the 98% is all hard work. The 98% is like a lot of brain juice thinking, a lot of things going on, and a lot of like trial and error, a lot of reflection on the stuff that I have done, what has worked, what has not worked. There was also a lot of like community engagement, learning from different people, what my clients really want, what my students really want. A lot. Anyway, if I can sum up 2021 in one word, it is whoa. Whoa, as in good, but whoa, as also in a little bit bad because it has been a really long year. It's been very frustrating. Um, it's also been pretty crazy as well because at the beginning of the year, I was also sort of grieving in a way because my that at that time my mom had passed away for less than 6 months. I wasn't really in the mood to do anything, but somehow I had a lot of engagement and my LinkedIn account really grew a lot in January, and that was just something that happened. I wouldn't say that I paid a lot of attention to it, but I'm very grateful that my LinkedIn community has grown from probably about 11,000 people at the end of 2020 to about 17,000 people right now. So I'm grateful about that every single day. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank every single one of you for your support. And I wish you all the best in the new year. And I hope that we can grow together in the new year. Cheers. And I wish you Happy New Year. Bye.